The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.
We're so honored to have on musical legend. He's a saxophonist, a composer, and the founding member of Tower of Power, Emilio Castillo. Emilio, great to have you on.
Pleasure to be here.
I haven't seen you in a while, but as you know, it's so great to have you on the show and talk about your brand new album, It's Christmas.
Yeah, we're very proud of that record.
You know, and this is your first full-length Christmas record, and I was surprised, Emilio, when you told me that it wasn't your idea, that the manager said, hey, maybe you need to do a Christmas album.
Well, you know, my partner, Doc Kupka, he's been telling me for years, we got to do a Christmas album, you know, and we just never did. But we worked on it for a long time, you know, and then I got it finished. And most of the year I haven't listened to it, and then getting ready to go out on tour, you know, it came out on Spotify. And I was listening to it, I was like, wow, man, it really came out great. So
it sounds so good. And
yeah.
I mean, how did you guys narrow down the songs too? Because with Tower of Power, with the horn section, the musicianship, everything that you guys, and we were talking before we came in studio, Emilio, to where, you know, the band has played through so many different styles of music through the years and always been relevant. How did you pick the songs for this Christmas album? Because now in December, you're kicking off your holiday tour as well.
We are. In December, we start the Holiday and Hits Tour. But picking the songs, you know, we all get together.
Right.
It's a democracy. It's not the Emilio show, you know. And we just talked about all these songs and about what we could do to them, what would work. You know, obviously, many artists have done different renditions of all these songs. Mm-hmm. And so we were very careful about picking them and very pleased with it.
Well, and once again, the Tower of Power, certainly you made them your own songs. I mean, with It's Christmas, the title track and everything else. And as I mentioned to you, some of my favorites, listening through the album, Silver Bells. And, you know, but I think in all these songs, you can always use a little more saxophone, Emilio. I mean, I'm listening to it and knowing you, and also, I mean, you know, playing your Yamaha saxophones and also the best jackets. I think, you know, you're probably one of the best dressed members on stage with the Tower of Power, right?
Well, these jackets that we do, you know, I mean, we try to look good for the crowd.
Yes, and look good and sound good. You know, I want to bring up, some people may not realize the history of how you got into this. And really, I found it fascinating to where, you know, your dad was a big part of this for you and your brother.
Absolutely.
To where, you know, it was like, you know, you guys have kind of gotten in trouble and, you know, you had to go to your rooms and come up with something that you were going to do that wasn't bad.
Yeah, we got caught stealing 2 T-shirts. And my dad gave me a notebook, said, fill it with why you're never going to steal again, and go in that room and figure out what you're going to do to keep you out of trouble this summer, or you're never coming out of there. The Beatles had just come out.
Wow.
And me and my brother said, we want to play music, Dad. Mm-hmm. He said, get in the car. We went to Allegro Music in Fremont, California, and all the instruments were on the wall, and I saw the saxophone. I said, I want that. And my brother saw the drum. Mm-hmm. He said, I want that. And we did everything backwards. We didn't practice for years and years and then start a band. We started the band that day.
Oh my gosh.
My brother's banging on the drum and my friend Jody was playing the intro to Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison. And
right.
I was squeaking on the saxophone, and my mom walked in and she said, they're going to be big stars.
Wow. I mean, and your mom knew.
Well,
I mean, but also, I mean, you know, once again, for kids to take to something so quickly with music, and as you and I both know, you know, being musicians is such a positive force in nature, and certainly you and the band Tower of Power have helped share that with people. But I got to bring up too, you know, that early band, the Gotham City Crime Fighters. I mean, that was a pretty unique name. You guys were kind of ahead of your time and had 1 or 2 singles that did pretty well too before that.
Well, I don't know about did pretty well. We had one single called Who Stole the Batmobile.
Come on, that's a great song.
Are you kidding me?
But, you know, it's interesting to me, though, Emilio, how that led then to the Motowns, you know, that you guys were before you made the leap to Tower of Power. And then it seemed like, you know, once you kicked in with Tower of Power, things were golden. We were talking about the time, once again, I'm a huge Jose Feliciano fan and Carlos Santana fan, and you guys were on tour playing shows with Carlos and Jose.
We did. We played the Forum 2 nights with Jose and Carlos. Those were tremendous gigs. And those were, you know, our first big, you know, Coliseum type gigs. And we were like, just, you know, awe-stricken. You know?
Well, and the list of artists that you guys have worked with Tower of Power, and you know, being the composer and saxophonist all the way. But I mean, Bobby Womack, I mean, the list goes on and on of all these artists. I mean, Huey Lewis, I mean, which was your favorite of all the artists, huge A-listers that Tower of Power has played with? Which was one of your favorites to play besides Carlos Santana?
We did several albums with Little Feat.
That's right.
And they did a live album where they took us on tour with them, and that album, Waiting for Columbus, that was their biggest record. They made the cover of People magazine with that record, and people always ask me about that one. And of course, Huey Lewis and the News, they were big fans of the band. They brought us out on tour with them. They sort of helped us during a very low point in our career to get back into the game, and we owe a lot to Huey.
Well, and what I think is so interesting too, to where now younger bands, you and I were talking before we came in studio, and my dad was a trombone player, so I definitely have an affinity for horn players, but it's like now it seems like there's a resurgence, to where, and Tower of Power has been here through all of it, for 56 years, as you said, well into your 57th year now, but it's like now you have bands like Lawrence that are bringing back the horn sections, and I think Tower of Power has been a part of that, as they, acknowledge you guys and the band.
I'm a big fan of that group, Lawrence, and I hear that they're fans of Tower of Power. And then, you see the boss with his 5-piece horn section. One of my old trumpet players, Barry Danielian, plays with him. And, there's a lot of acts out there that have former members of Tower of Power in them.
Well, and as you and I know, back in the day, back in the 60s and early 70s, every band had a horn section. And that's what I loved about it, just all of the early bands. And it's nice to me to see that come back. And like you and I were talking too, the energy. Tower of Power has always been known for bringing incredible musicianship, but also the energy and excitement. And you guys still are having such a blast. Every time I've seen you on tour and live, and now you're playing with symphonies. How did this happen?
My manager, once again, this guy, we love him. His name's Ivory Daniel. He's the one that got us these symphony gigs. He's the one that had us do this Christmas album. All these things are paying off.
I'm telling you, but I mean, it's once again, it's like one of those things. It's like, chocolate and peanut butter, Emilio. It's like, you think of Tower of Power and a symphony. It's like, well, that just kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah, we always wanted to play with a symphony. And he said, in your perfect world, what would you have happen that hasn't happened yet? We went, symphony. And he's like, it's going to happen now.
Well, I've got to ask you the obvious question, Emilio. With the Tower of Power doing this huge holiday and hits tour, will there be special like Christmas outfits and jackets for this?
Some of the guys wear some stuff. I don't dress up myself, but although I should.
But also, It's Christmas will be available on vinyl also, right?
Beautiful vinyl package. Yeah, really came out nice.
And I read some interesting merch too coming out with that.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the vinyl, you were talking about the vinyl. The vinyl on the album is red.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
I'm gonna have to have a copy.
Yeah.
No question, I'm gonna have to buy one.
Yeah.
But you guys are doing so much now, and we were talking to Emilio, to where the band still tours 200 gigs a year.
We've done that for 56 years. That's what I'm used to. When I'm home, my friends see me, they go, man, I don't know how you do it. I go, it's all I've ever known since I was 17.
Well, I got to ask you this. How many years have you been with Yamaha, playing their saxophones and everything? Because, I mean, you always play a primo saxophone.
I've probably been with them 25 years, I think.
So you have like a signature model saxophone?
Well, they have a signature model. There's not a Tower of Power saxophone. But
maybe there needs to be.
Maybe. I talk to them.
Yeah, I know a guy.
They're really good. I mean, they're really great instruments, and we enjoy playing them.
Well, and also that you only tour with one saxophone, because I thought you were going to tell me, oh, Eric, I go out on the road with 2 or 3, and it's like, but you have one, and it's cased up, bundled up, padded, under lock and key.
I take real good care of it.
And it takes real good care of you.
It does.
How do you keep it fresh, though, Emilio? I mean, after this many years, going into the 57th year, and certainly you and your brother starting out so young, playing music, in Detroit and everything, it's like, how do you keep the music fresh and keep bringing it for the crowds that you're playing sold-out shows every time?
It's the music. It really is. I was telling you earlier, we're very selfish about making music. We make it exactly the way we want it to be. Mm-hmm. We don't chase trends. We don't care what's popular, because no matter what we do, we sound like Tower of Power anyway. So we just, do it the way we like.
Well, and the list of hits too, because I always think, what is hip? It's like there's so many Tower of Power songs, though. As soon as you hear the first notes, you know the song.
Yeah, that one's kind of timeless. People ask me, are you tired of playing What Is Hip yet? No.
I mean, to have a hit, though, I mean, and you guys have had multiple hits, but one like that transcends generations. So now when Tower of Power is playing a show and you guys are looking out into the audience, you not only have your original audience that was with you, but now their kids and grandkids and everything.
Right, 3 generations. You know what I like about What Is Hip is that all these bands nowadays have been influenced by that song.
Right.
You listen to bands in their rhythm section and how they're approaching the beat, and it's got everything to do with David Garibaldi on drums and Rocco Prestia on the bass, those 16th notes, that kind of syncopation, that kind of drive. It's flattering.
Well, and I thought it was so incredible too, back in 2018 when you came out with this, 50 years of funk and soul live at the Fox Theater. Incredible double LP that's still available also. The artwork, the music, and you said it took a lot of work to put this together too.
It did. We rehearsed a lot. We rehearsed at Tony's rehearsal in Oakland. We did everything in Oakland. Even the mayor had us down to City Hall and gave us the keys to the city, declared it Tower Power Day. It was a great week, and it came out really great. And then afterwards, a lot of work putting it together.
And I got to bring this up, Emilio, and obviously you've thought about this. We're 3 years out from the 60th.
I know. Somebody asked me about it yesterday. Trying not to think about it right now.
I mean, what are you going to do to top that?
Yeah, we got to do something.
I mean, it's going to be big.
We'll see.
And the Tower of Power is going to bring it.
Right now, I'm just trying to make it a day at a time.
Well, you're doing incredible. I mean, it's like with the energy that you bring in an entire band, but also I think, as a leader and you and Doc, I mean, you guys are the glue, that keep this thing going.
The 2 pieces of glue that are left, yeah.
2 very important pieces of glue.
Yeah, it's true. We're the main songwriters, and he's been my partner for so many years and my best friend. It's a blessing.
Well, I'll tell you what, I want to make sure for our viewers that they know for website where to go for the tour, for the music, for the merch, to get the vinyl. Emilio, where do they need to go for everything Tower of Power and for the social media too?
TowerPower.com, and we're all across social media.
And obviously you might be coming to a town near them with the Christmas tour. And you guys, we were talking before we came in studio, Emilio, to where you guys are already booking into next year.
Oh yeah, we're well booked into 2025. We got some gigs in 2026.
Which is getting very close to the 60th.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I tell you what, be sure to go see them live, Tower of Power, and also check out the new album, however you consume music. It's Christmas is available on digital, CD, and vinyl. I say get the vinyl, but go see them live also. And I think there might be some more shows coming out with symphonies and everything else with the incredible history-making Tower of Power. Emilio Castillo, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Eric.
Great stuff.
The Rocket Review is sponsored by Why Not Saloon.